Hello, time travelers. Welcome to V.I.C.E. I am Tanya, aka TanyaLashea, and I'll be your GM for this short campaign where we play a wild game of space adventure and intrigue in the far, far future. Players are CaptainZiggy, NotQuiteNormal, and Kepeski, and you follow this crew of paranormal investigators as they travel a solar system called Syndara in a high-octane fantasy sci-fi where time is money and life is short. Enjoy the journey. Welcome back to the world of ice in the dying solar system of Syndara. In our last episode, the crew had just finished a kind of like long and like difficult job trying to find a gentleman who had surprisingly evaded you guys for quite some time. It turned out just to be a lonely farmer, but you finished that job. You met up with your captain, Captain Ja Crystal Sugar, on her ship called the Juggernaut, and you received payment. And then after you got your payment, you guys were expecting to kind of take a break. But unfortunately, there was an emergency job that she assigned to everyone that required you guys to go right back out into the field the same day. So you all got together and made your preparation. So right before heading to your destination, you guys found out a couple of interesting things. And you found out two main things that are really important to remember. One is that the job that you were currently on had already been assigned to a V.I.C.E. crew. You don't know what happened to that crew. You don't know why it was reassigned to you guys. And second, the urgency of this job is coming from a person who is either a high level member of the Old Tarian or has a lot of power in the Old Tarian. But again, you weren't able to find out like who that person was and exactly why they are so interested in this job getting done early or as quick as possible. So after you guys learned as much as you could, you guys made your way down to the space station named Cerberus, which was located in the Red Belt. You guys picked up your packages, 3 packages to be exact, a small package, a large package, and a wiggly package. And then after learning that the wiggly package was kind of like a sentient being, there were some mixed feelings in the group about, taking that package to some random, location to just be dropped off after kind of communicating with this wiggly package that was in a small duffel bag in this strange location where you went to pick it up. So you guys made your way to Oxnard, which is where you needed to go to do the first drop off. And the decision was made in the back alleys of Oxnard to break the seal and open the package, revealing a young girl who I believe only Raiko learned was CK, because you guys were able to communicate telepathically. She was bound and gagged and dirty and had clearly just been left in this sack for who knows how long, waiting for someone to pick her up as if she were like any other of the packages that you picked up. And she was not able to communicate to you all like physically, like through her mouth or even really with moving because she was bound. And there was a X made of tape that was over her mouth. So we are back in this dark alley on the obsidian and like black glass planet of Oxnard, where every corner is dark. And we want to see how everybody's doing as you all are still kind of staring down what used to be a wiggly package and is now a little girl who is bound and has tape on her mouth. So, what's everybody thinking?
Well, I know Raiko visibly just slumps head forward a little disappointed.
You seem a little disappointed in this, Raiko?
Ah, I was hoping I was a bag of cats. Something else.
I was hoping it was some sort of rare predator that I would have no problem selling.
You were hoping it was a predator and you were okay with us just cutting open the bag.
They usually have straps underneath the bag so the predator doesn't just jump open and and eat whoever buys it.
Still, the idea is concerning.
All I'm gonna say is I have the scars underneath my uniform form of experience when handling such cargo.
Avery, go ahead and cut it free.
I'll cut her free.
Are you doing that with your knife?
Yes.
Avery, as you go closer to her, explain to me how you're doing this.
Oh, how is she bound?
It is rope, but it's like, it's around her about 3 times, fairly tight, but it could easily be cut with a knife. It's just that, like, as you approach her with this weapon, knowing that you've not spoken to her, I wanna know, like, what your demeanor is so that she can react appropriately.
I'm just chill.
Okay.
Avery isn't taking this super seriously, and uh, Raiko just told them to do it, so just walking up. The knife isn't on right now, I suppose, or I'll actively turn the knife off.
Okay. Go ahead and make a mental saving throw as you do that.
So D20,
Yes.
3.
Jeez. Oh my god.
I'm not a bright cookie.
These rolls. As you're like approaching her, I'm gonna say that she doesn't move. I think she understands what's happening. And I'll say Raiko without even really rolling, especially since you've upgraded your telepathy so much. You realize that this girl is not a normal girl. She's very clear that she's a psychic, but she also has like almost like instinctual buffers that maybe she can't control. So Avery, as you get close and you are trying to, cut her free, as soon as you like get the first cut done and you kind of like snap it open, you almost feel like a force field like hit your brain, almost like a brain freeze. Almost go up your nose into your brain, all the way to the back of your brain. And it is spine chillingly painful. And you're fairly incapacitated for like a couple of moments before you can reorganize your thoughts. And you all see this, obviously. But she's cut free, but she just continues to kind of sit there until someone explains or talks to her to figure out what you all are doing. But Avery is a little incapacitated right now.
You all good there, Avery?
Weird child.
I'll bet. I'll think over to her. So it's CK, right?
She nods.
Hmm. Can you speak?
She still has the tape over her mouth, but in your head, she goes, sort of.
Any idea how long you were in the bag?
She just shrugs.
Of course. It's never easy. Alright, let's try this again. Hello, my name is Raiko. This is Sam, and this is Avery. We did not know you were in there until now. Um, and it's throwing off everything we were going to do. So I would like for you to tell us as much as you can.
As you are talking with her, I don't even think you really need to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway, just to see how everyone's catching the vibe. But you guys are in a dark alley right now. And a couple of moments ago, there were a couple of people way down at the bottom of the alley, but they have since left. However, since you all have been talking, I want everybody to kind of just give me, you can either do intelligence or I'll allow wisdom unless you have like a special ability, but kind of look around and take in your surroundings and see if you see anything of interest.
I have a level of notice, if that helps at
Mm,
all. Or I
you
guess
do.
a level 0 of notice.
That's true. But you do have notice, so that's
I'm not sure if that does it.
well, you can spot anomalies and like interesting facts about your environment. You'll still have to roll to like search places, kind of like investigation.
We're doing D6s or D20s for this one. Is it 2D6?
Yes, 2d6.
I got my physical 2d6s here. Don't have a physical d20 though.
6 and 3 equaling 9.
Oh,
Got a
nice.
5.
11.
Okay. I will say that Bryco is really paying attention to the little girl, but you still kind of get some like psychic tinglies that the two people that were at the far end of the alley who are gone, they're not back, but you can kind of see that a new figure has emerged, but they're far away. So, but you do kind of catch that as you're talking with her because she's right at the alley entrance. But I'll say, Avery, as you are kind of standing there and just kind of listening to the conversation around you, you kind of start to get like almost like what is it? Like
Spidey sense.
yeah, like a spidey sense or like the hairs on your neck start to kind of spike up as you feel like there are definitely eyes specifically on your area. Either someone is like looking in your direction or someone's like watching you guys. You're not sure exactly what it is, but you definitely feel like there might be eyes on you guys. Sam, I will say that as you're kind of standing there listening to this, you realize that coming up kind of like beside you, walking towards you, is the same man that you met before. And you're thinking maybe he wants to do another deal or something. So that's what's happening in the space right now, all at once, that you're all noticing.
Oh, you're back for more? You're my kind of customer.
Avery and Ryko, what are you guys doing in this moment?
I'm gonna tap Raiko on the shoulder.
Yes, what's it? What's up?
I believe we are being watched.
All right. Best make this inconspicuous. CK, you mind taking the tape off? It'll help how things look.
As you all have this conversation, Sam kind of turns his attention. Ryko and Avery, you guys make that conversation. You go back to look at CK. You see that she's not even really listening to you anymore. She also has gotten the kind of spidey sense that you two got. She's now up at some point and she's now like slowly backing away from both of you guys and someone she's looking at, which is the figure that is now at the bottom of the alley. Sam, as you turn to talk to the gentleman who's walking up to you, he is kind of smiling, because he's like, yeah, of course. I want to do another deal. I got some cool stuff. And as he does that, you also kind of see from the corner of your eye another person come from another angle. Essentially, you are all being surrounded at this moment. So Oxnard is very, very dark all the time, but you're essentially were on a road and then you went into like an alley. And so there's like sidewalks, alleys, and then a road. And I'll say you guys are in one of these main alleys, like right on the alley, like sidewalk, a little bit in. And you're being surrounded by people on basically all four sides. So coming into the alley and then from the road and from the sidewalks. That perfect red X is essentially where you guys are. And right now you can see two people coming towards you. One person is directly next to Sam because Sam allowed them to approach. And then one person is coming towards you guys. And then one person is coming from the alleyway. I'm going to say all you guys can see is three people at the moment.
The girl, kind of, if I can pick up who she's looking at and backing away from, I want to immediately go into seeing what I can tell, like what I can pull from their head.
From the girl's head?
No. From the person who she's looking at, who she's identifying as a threat. I want to confirm and make sure by looking and seeing what they're thinking.
Oh, okay. The gentleman that is coming up the alley is who she's looking at.
Okay.
I will say he's not a psychic. He's not prepared for you to infiltrate his mind. And on the surface level, you immediately get like not the whole plan. Luckily, they are fairly trained people, but you get like grab the girl, eliminate if possible. Like that's kind of the first thing you get from him as he's walking towards you. And that's probably what you're realizing she also got.
As soon as I get that, I pull out my pistol and shoot him.
Okay.
I
Well,
do think it's very funny. You said that in the same monotone you say everything in.
I mean, a simple reaction.
Talking to CK, it's like, hey, are you okay? Oh, this man wants to kidnap you and kill us. I pull out my pistol and shoot him in the forehead.
okay, so you pull out your pistol and immediately try to fire. That's what you're trying to do as an action.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm going to assume that everyone wants to engage in combat. So let's go ahead and roll initiative. That's going to be 1d8 for initiative plus your dex modifier.
Sitting at a fat 0. Let's go. Ooh.
Looking at my stats, hoping maybe they have anything to help me, but no, it's a 4.
I got 6.
Perfect. So we have Sam, Raiko, and Avery. So Sam, Raiko, you take out your pistol, you point it down the alley. As this is happening, Sam, you have already been approached by this gentleman, and he is, trying to get you to look at some of his wares, try to get another deal going. But you see at the corner of your eye that someone is also walking towards you. At this moment, you don't exactly know what's happening with Raiko and Avery having a conversation about there's some danger coming. So you're first in the initiative. So as you kind of look around at your situation, what are you wanting to do?
Honestly, honestly, before everyone shoots, I kind of want to talk to the customers, saying like, "What the hell? Well, we had a fair deal. What's going on?"
He's kind of like, nothing personal, just, I get my money where I get my money. I'm going to be paid well for this.
Nothing personnel, kid.
Nothing personal. And now that he knows that the jig is up, he is going to go ahead and pull out a pistol as well. And the gentleman that's also walking on your left, he hasn't pulled out a weapon, but he is walking faster towards you.
I pull out my laser pistol, saying, "This is our cargo, and it's not for sale."
Okay. And then Avery, what are you wanting to do?
I'm turning my knife on.
Turning it
Okay.
on, like, does your knife like run out of batteries or something?
It catches fire.
Oh, interesting.
I have a thermal knife.
Okay, so it sounds like everyone wants to attack, and so we'll attack in initiative order. So Sam, you right now have 2 people on you. One is closer than the other. The guy that's right in front of you that has a pistol trained on you, he is like literally standing in front of you because he got so close. So you can either try to like shoot him or disarm him first.
I mean, since he's been such a good customer, I'll probably disarm him.
Okay. How do you want to do that?
I'll probably try to shoot the gun he's holding getting out of his grip.
Oh, okay. All right. I think that is fine. I will say though that if you roll and you like miss, that will then give him the opportunity to shoot you if you're trying to go for shooting to shoot.
I haven't
You can also ascertain maybe the best way to disarm him as well. But that's up to you.
What do you mean ascertain? Like, who would I even discuss for that?
Well, no, you can like look him over to see if he's actually going to try to shoot you or if he's just putting his gun out to like make sure you don't pull like your weapon out or try to fight him.
You know what? Yeah, now that I think about it, Sam definitely would try to do a quick check to call out a bluff.
Okay. Do you want to do your? I'll say wisdom or intelligence.
Definitely intelligence, since wisdom is my negative modifier.
Okay.
What, 2d6?
Yes, 2d6.
Come on. 8.
Not bad. You can see that he's not trying to hurt you. He is going to get paid for stealing your cargo, essentially. He's not going to get paid for like killing people, and that might send him to jail. He's not one of those criminals. He's just an opportunist.
Look, we're both Both like to take whatever opportunities we can, and I know for a fact you're only that gun as a bluff to scare me. But unfortunately, you have the opportunity this cargo first, so fair's fair.
Listen, friend, uh, I'm just here to kind of help them. And when he says them, you see that the guy that was walking towards you is now much, much closer. In fact, he's now right next to you. This man is quite large, probably about as tall as you. And he is wearing kind of like a jet black, like trench coat and black boots. And he actually has a spare duffel bag. As you look at this, I think you realize that they know what the cargo is, and they are here to take the cargo, and they are going to take it. So I'm gonna say that, Sam, is your action in that moment as you kind of see what's happening here. Ryko,
Yeah,
you have pulled out your pistol. You're looking down the dark alley at this man coming towards you. What do you want to do?
I will shoot him. On
Okay.
on top of this, though, I will call out to my teammates if I have the time to do it.
Yeah, also you hear Sam having a conversation as you have your pistol trained. I'll also say that this is a fairly long alley, and Onyx is known for being like pitch black. So you can try to shoot and make it, but it's going to be difficult. Also, this gentleman or this person that's coming up towards you, you can't get a really good look at him. You can see that he's wearing dark clothing, which unfortunately means that he kind of blends into the dark pavement, the dark glassy like sides of the buildings, like everything's pitch black here with very little light. So, if you want to roll, go ahead and what is your what are you rolling? A pistol?
Yeah, I have a.
And you're just doing an action? Or you're just gonna attack?
Yeah, I'll attack him. I'm curious. If I try to detect him with like looking for thoughts, would it help narrow down his location?
I'm gonna say probably not. I think the issue is that you can't like, I don't know if you'll be able to like, when you fire, it'll go down this long hallway, and basically what he'll do is he'll most likely try to evade. But you guys are unfamiliar with Oxnard, and these guys clearly are familiar with this area. So, I think what you're doing is you're taking a gamble on whether he can see you better than you can see him.
Have we, as a Vice crew, dealt with situations like this before?
Most definitely. I think in this
Okay.
instance, you definitely had, like, some of your cargo, like, attempt to be stolen. I'll leave that up to you guys of whether it's actually ever been successful before. But in this instance, it's a little different, obviously, because when you have just cargo, you can just take it with you. You know, you just pick it up and you can, like, run or you can, like, evade. In this instance, you got one of the reasons why you guys are probably wanting to fight is because they're clearly here to take the girl.
Mhm.
At least Avery has low light goggles.
You have low light goggles?
Yes,
Okay.
one of my few things.
Well, I will allow your action to get the goggles and to be able to assess the situation on whether, what's the right move to do here in terms of like what you see better.
If Raiko can see that he's going to have a hard time shooting someone down, he's going to focus more on directing the others and protecting their cargo.
Okay.
So he would shift more to defensive and preventative, and also call out to the others to make sure they know what's going on.
Okay. So is that what you want to do with your role? Do you want to just keep your weapon trained on the person coming up just in case whenever he does get into better range, you can take a shot and then but really focus on
Yes,
coordinating everyone? Okay.
probably move behind cover as well. Take the girl behind cover.
Okay. I think that's a good plan. So you grab her, and at this point, if you grab her to kind of like shuffle around the building that you guys are out, so you're coming out of the alley to like find some cover, you'll finally look and actually see that there are two people right next to Sam.
All right. I would like to make sure that everyone's on the same page. And so if I still have time, I'd call out a signal that we've used before when we've been jumped,
Mm.
which basically it is claim jumpers, gentlemen. Make sure there's one alive for questioning. And that just means kill everyone else and make sure we have at least one to question later.
All right. I'm going to say, Sam, you hear this. Raiko, you are moving with the girl, and she is moving with you.
Yeah.
And you also kind of notice in this moment that Avery got like some sort of backlash last time when he got very close to her, but you are like holding on to her, and you don't feel that psychic presence.
Specifically, also, if I could look for psychics, I just want to keep an eye out for psychics, but that'll be for future sure.
Okay. Avery, what are you doing as all of this madness is happening?
I hear that from Raiko. I'm gonna pop my low lights on and run for them with my knife.
Okay, which one do you want to run for?
Is there one that's farther away from Sam? Whichever's the most open.
So I will say, let's see. Let's put a little circle here. Sam is essentially right here.
Okay. So then I'll go for the one on the left.
Okay. And so you're attacking.
Yes.
Okay, what are you attacking with?
My knife, if I can get close enough.
Okay. What are you doing with it? Stabbing?
I'm going to
Chaining?
stab him. Good old
Excellent.
gut shot.
Excellent. Go ahead. You have a special knife, don't you? But you also have stab, I believe.
I have stab and I have a thermal knife. But everything I can tell is the thermal is just flavor.
Oh, it doesn't do extra damage?
No. Everything I could read, it's just a non-primitive knife. According to the books.
That makes no sense. I think it should make sense that it does more damage. Okay, so you are basically wielding a melee weapon. So what is...
For me, I believe it would be a +4 to hit and then 1d6 damage because that's what a regular knife would be for me.
Okay. Let me see if he has any defenses.
My damage or to hit?
To hit. I'm actually going to... Okay, so since you are going to just instantly attack him, that's going to be an instant action for you. So that just happens. You are able to rush him. And so go ahead and roll your stab attack.
All right. And that's D20, I believe.
For what a melee is. I believe it's a 2d6.
Nope, it's a 1d20 to hit. At least with melee. To make an attack roll, the assailant rolls 1d20 and adds their attack bonus, their applicable skill level, and attribute modifier most relevant to the weapon.
Okay, and the 2d6 is for damage?
Yes. So it's the standard, same with D&D, where it's 1d20 to hit, and then each weapon has its own damage roll. So, does a 16 hit? Does he have an AC?
Yes, he does.
Does a 16 hit?
A 16 does hit.
All right. And then he takes 4 damage.
Okay. Tell me how you you're stabbing the person right next to Sam, but not the person that Sam is talking to. So there's the gentleman that's right in front of Sam, and then the one that just approached him, who's a bit bigger. He's the one you stab.
Correct.
So how do you do that?
I pop on my goggles, I sprint down the alley, and I stab him in the gut. Right between 2 ribs.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, you do that, and you kind of like you actually go through his clothes, which is a little bit difficult, but you are able to do it. He's wearing a pretty thick black coat. But when you like stab him, you get a lot of resistance. This guy has a good amount of muscle on him. He does like double over, but he immediately like is going to try to grab your knife and like hold on to your hand so that you can't take your hand away from him, so that he can do something else. So that is where you are right now in that little scuffle. Sam, you see this happening. What are you doing?
Oh no. Okay, before I do anything, I would just be like, Avery, what are you doing? Me and Roku were about to try to settle this more calmly. We didn't need to resort to violence immediately.
You heard Raiko.
Uh,
Yeah,
I'm not that great at violence. I'm not that great at violence. As Sam makes a pot shot at the closest person towards him.
that's the guy right in front of you.
Yes.
All right, go ahead and roll your d20.
15.
It does, but I will say that because you both have your pistols out trained on one another, I'm going to say that your instant action essentially rolls his action into an instant action because, of course, if someone shoots you and you already have a pistol out, you're going to immediately try to shoot them. So he is going to roll his pistol. And I will do that. We'll call him. What did I give him a name? I don't even remember. Does a 14 hit?
All my saves are 13, so barely.
I believe that is your AC, not your saves.
Yeah, it'll be your AC, which is, I know we wrote it down.
Oh, it's over by your armor. It will be like your equipment. I have like armored undersuit, and then the AC's with that.
Oh yeah, it's all the way down at the bottom. Yeah, your base is 10, but you have secure clothing on, so it's 13.
1 over.
Yes. So I'll say that your hit of him, it actually like hits in a good spot, and he does kind of double over and fall to the ground as he's shooting you. So while yours hit his chest and he's probably down for quite some time, his hit your leg.
God.
While all of that is happening, Raiko, you see this chaos. And even though all of this is happening right next to you and you're kind of moving away with the girl, the man that is still coming towards you is still almost like still walking. I guess like you could call it calmly. He doesn't seem to be in a rush.
Interesting. What I'd like to do is do a scan, just using my telepathy, do a quick prod on each of them to see who seems to have like the highest mental defenses.
Okay.
Basically, doing what I would normally do, but doing it quickly between each of our opponents to see who seems to be able to rebuff it easier.
Okay. I'm going to say this guy is kind of down here. And this guy over here is kind of bleeding. And then the other gentleman is walking towards you guys still. And then we have Sam and Avery who's stabbing someone.
My natural habitat.
And then we'll put you over here at cover.
Just little child.
Okay, so what did you want to look at again?
I'm just doing a quick mental sweep to see who seems like they're going to shake off telepathy easier, or who's got better mental defense.
Oddly enough, no one in the area so far has mental abilities. So I'm going to say that you probably assume that they may have run up, with a psychic. They may not have known what the makeup of your team was. However, I think you all kind of understand that these are like grunts. You know, they're just kind of here to do a job. They were probably hired third person, and so none of them have like any type of mental ability.
Well, seeing no one here can resist us, I'll just pull out my fist on fire at the person next to Avery.
Okay, well, go ahead and roll your 1d20. I think if Avery is kind of right in front of him. I'm assuming you're a good shot.
I certainly hope so.
I think Avery hopes so too.
No, Avery's used to friendly fire.
To be fair, I usually don't care. 14.
Okay. Great. Let's see how that works then.
I feel like this is the usual situation of Sam is floundering with one enemy while I just get pelted in the forehead with bullets.
The forehead. Gosh.
No, I don't want to speak to hopefully not.
I got a thick skull.
Okay, that does hit this person. He's already damaged. Did you roll damage? Go ahead and roll your damage.
6 max.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay. You actually let me roll. He's a big boy, but I think if he sees that someone's like, trying to shoot him with a gun, he's going to try to do something. So I'm at least going to roll him. I'll roll him a physical saving throw.
Can I interfere with it?
Oh, yeah. Let me roll it and see what he gets, and then you can try to interfere if it's like good. So his is 14. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, he got a 17. So he is going to try to essentially, since he's holding on to you, Avery, he's going to try to essentially hold you in front of him so that the bullet catches you. So what do you want to do in response?
So my skin's made out of metal. Can I just drop like a rock?
That's right. Your skin is made of metal. Yeah. He tries to pick you up, and he lets go of your hand so that he can use both of his hands on your shoulders, and realizes he's grunting and realizes that he can't pick you up. And as he's doing that, because he thought he'd be able to pick you up and put you directly in front of his body, he obviously leaves his shoulders and head completely exposed, and the bullet goes straight through his dome, and he falls backwards.
He'd also have to hide behind me. Avery is short.
Well done, Avery. The next one's coming from down the hall.
Back to Sam. Sam, you see this scuffle happening next to you, and all of a sudden there's a bullet in this guy's brain and he falls down. The man that's in front of you, who's lying down, he still has his gun. He did not drop it. He shot you in the leg and then fell down, but he still has his gun in his hand, and he is trying to he's in a lot of pain, obviously, because he was shot in the stomach, but he's still alive. And so he's trying to move his gun and aim it. So what do you want to do?
I think I'll try to take his gun away.
Sure. It's not that difficult. He is bleeding out on the ground in a lot of pain. So you could literally just do that.
So yeah, now he's a bit too injured or bleeding to getting to get up, and he's unarmed. So yeah, we don't have to worry.
Excellent. It is at this point that the man that was coming down the long alleyway finally gets close enough for you, Raiko, to see him a bit better. And I think at this point, if you took a shot, you would be able to actually hit him. But you do see that he is unarmed, at least he doesn't have a weapon out, and he is just simply walking towards you guys. We are still in initiative, though.
And since there's still a guy behind me, I'll probably turn around and try to intimidate him by pointing both guns at him. I'll try to point both guns at him and just saying, "All right, 3 against 1. The cargo is still ours, still not for sale. He'll give it up."
Okay. He approaches you guys and stops kind of at the entrance of the alley. You have 2 guns trained on him. I'm assuming Avery is looking at him. Raiko is looking at him. You guys are all looking at him. He does not make any moves to pull a weapon. He just kind of stands there and looks at you guys for a moment. And he does hear what you say, but he sort of just looks at you all and he goes, "Right, well, this has gotten quite complicated. Listen, I'm not 100% sure if you know who these packages are for, but we're really trying to help you guys out. You don't want to keep these, right?"
How are you going to help us? Help us, perchance.
By taking the packages, guy. Your job was to drop them off, so drop them off.
Yeah, I would say Sam is still at that point where he's really conflicted about this, so he just sort of looks at both Avery and Raiko.
I'm looking at Raiko.
Slightly, so the girl is in between him. And I want to the Spike to ask him a very pointed question to see if he can block it.
Mm. Okay.
Mainly, what kind of psychic are you?
He just kind of like, I am not one, I don't think. And he's telling the truth.
Good. I smile, and I'd like to use suppressed cognition on him to force him to forget that there was any cargo he had to pick up to begin.
Oh, okay.
So,
How do you do
they
that
have to
ability?
make a mental saving throw to resist the power, and if they succeed, they become immune. If they fail, the thoughts remain unthinkable for the rest of the scene, unless the target perceives physical danger or traumatic threat to something they prize highly.
Okay. Mental, he has 15. Oh my god.
Well,
What happens as you do this?
I want him to forget he had any reason to be here. And if I can tell that it's taken a hold, I'll smile and approach, putting on my best. You can trust me, smile.
Okay. Yeah, it works perfectly just as you wanted. He's sort of just like sitting there calmly, and then in one moment after you've asked him that question and he's a little confused and he responds, he then sort of has a vacant look on his face, blinks a couple of times, and then kind of looks around again, almost as if he's kind of like, how did I get here? And what's happening? And then of course all at once, there's a lot of panic on his face as he looks around and sees all of the murder happening on the ground there.
Good sir, I'm afraid you stumbled into some business. I'd ask you to move away.
He kind of puts his hands up and he's like, oh, listen, I don't have anything to do with this, and I don't want nothing to do with this. I'm gonna, all right. And he begins to back up very quickly
Thank you.
from whence he came, and he disappears. And we are out of initiative.
I think that went quite well.
Well, gentlemen, we have two options here. We forget that ever happened, or we follow this man. I, for one, would like to know who's shooting at us.
I don't know. Like, if we're going to seriously going to protect this girl, I'm not quite sure if following this person will be the best move.
Fair enough. We already have someone we can interrogate. And I'll look over to the man lying on the floor.
Mm. He is bleeding out quite quickly, and he will probably die before you're able to get anything out of him.
I'll cauterize it.
Excellent. He howls in pain at that. He is still quite weak, but no longer bleeding out, but probably is going to still die unless he gets to a hospital.
I have a Lazarus patch, but I don't really want to use it on him.
I mean, you don't have to. I'll say, let me go ahead and let me get him. Let me look at stats and see if we'll roll something for him to see how long you guys have until basically he passes out from blood loss.
Can I rummage through his pockets, see if he has a Lazarus patch?
Sure, you could just do that. He doesn't have one. He has his pistol, but Sam already took it, and 100 credits on him.
I'm gonna take the credits.
He's pale and he's no longer bleeding, but he's going in and out of consciousness, and he's just kind of whimpering on the ground. I'm going to roll a physical saving throw and see if he stays conscious long enough for you guys to interrogate him.
Better roll high.
Yeah. Oh
No.
my gosh, no.
Womp womp.
Yeah, as as you're rummaging through his pockets, if you find 100 gold, you find 100 credits on like a little it's like a little onyx stamp card. So you'll have to go and find like essentially like the equivalent of an ATM to like transfer the credits because it's specific to this planet. But you do have 100 credits now. But as you're like going through his pockets, you just see him go completely limp, and he is
Raiko, I think he died. Can I
Oh,
check
that's
the other guy's pockets?
disappointing. Check the other one's pockets for anything identifying. Sam, loot to your heart's content. If you can find anything important, let me know.
You got it.
I will push Sam out of the way to get to the other guy's pockets that
Hey!
I shanked.
Yeah, I push as well. Like, hey, I'm the finance answer of this team.
You are not shoving Avery out of the way. I weigh like triple you.
Let's let the dice decide who's more hungry for these little bit of credits you're gonna find on this spot.
I assure you, it is Avery.
Let's have both of you roll a d20.
I want Sam to win this.
Wanna?
If I put all my body weight in it, can I use my con mod?
Yeah, sure.
Sweet.
What is your con mod?
Yippee. Oh,
I rolled a 15, and your natural die has an 11, dude.
no, my natural die had a 10. My con mod is 1.
Sam's hungry for loot.
Hungry for loot. Yeah, you get straight pushed out of the way, and Sam wins the quarry. This was the much larger man that had the trench coat on, and he also had a duffel bag that he brought to probably put the girl in, because for some reason they probably knew that they would need a new one. So Sam, you check his pockets. Let's say he also has 100 credits on him, but for such a display, let's go ahead and say in the duffel bag, they were going to bring a couple of things to kind of like help with the transport. So you see that they have like little bags of like, I don't know, chips and some candy, like things for like a kid would probably like, and some water in the duffel bag as well.
Anybody want a snack?
Bring it over here. CK may be hungry.
That, and I honestly am looking forward to get to really know this person. We all of a sudden need to value their life.
It's a child.
I mean, yeah, I know we don't want to kill a child, but we should at least know the child a little bit for how much trouble we're gonna keep it alive.
Well, why don't you go ahead and remove the tape from her mouth so she can talk for herself? So I don't have to be the one who keeps relaying everything.
All right.
As I am speaking, though, I do want to see if like the girl's shaken or scared or if she's used to this.
I don't know if you would call it used to it, but she is not shaking and she doesn't seem fearful, but she also like is not tied anymore, but she hasn't taken the tape off, which you assume she could do herself.
Mm.
She's been standing kind of in the corner right next to you. You would even say, as you kind of look at her, she's almost like absorbing everything you're all doing. It's a little bit more than just watching or like looking. It's almost as if she's doing something in her mind, calculating, figuring things out as she kind of looks at all of you do different things, Avery using his knife and using his weight, and Raiko, you using your pistol but also using your telepathy, and so you're kind of seeing that she's almost studying you three.
Now hold still, little girl, as Sam would remove the tape from her mouth.
Mm. Go ahead and give me a mental saving throw.
It's a 13. Do I roll something?
1d20.
14.
Okay. You kind of feel again kind of like a wave, like a pressure of air or maybe like static almost as if something's being pushed towards you as you get closer and you start to take the tape off. But instead of a pain, like a brain freeze, feels like the pressure is like it goes up your nose into your brain, and it almost just kind of feels like your brain's being like massaged, but like not a great way, but not in a painful way. It's a
Hmm.
very strange feeling, and it just comes suddenly, but it's clearly coming from her. But she does let you take the tape off.
What is this psych or juju you just did when I was taking the tape off?
She does not speak with her mouth, but you all three of you actually hear like in your minds now as she projects her voice into your minds. She simply goes, "Sorry, I can't help that." It kind of gets done automatically. And she kind of shrugs.
Raiko will think to her, have you ever seen a Vice crew before?
Hmm, that is a good question. I wonder. Hmm, I think I'm going to say, I'm going to say yes. She sort of just looks over at you, and in your mind, she goes, I know Vice. I've never seen one before, but I know of you.
How old are you?
How old is she? I don't actually think I gave her an age. Yeah, she shrugs again. Mm.
Hmm.
Wait. You say you've heard of us before?
She nods. And then she kind of points to where you guys came from, the main area where you first arrived, which was like a landing pad from the red belt station. And she sort of just points in that direction. And she goes, I've traveled a lot. And then she looks down at the duffel bag. So you
Hmm.
guys can kind of figure out from how she's trying to explain it that she doesn't know how long she's been in that bag, but from what you can see from the people coming with a new bag, you assume that she's been shuffled around by several different like people in different teams, including Vice, but also other teams, like this team that tried to just take her just now. And so she understands what's going on, but she also doesn't.
Yeah, swapped hands. Though I am flattered that somebody special like you still has enough time to hear about one of the best tradesmen in the galaxy. Me.
She doesn't quite understand the context. All she hears is that you said that she was special, and so she smiles.
Sam is just going to interpret that smile as just Ale as also part of agreeing that Sam is a great eighth salesman and just a striking ego.
Mhm.
Well, gentlemen, and madam, we know that people know our location. It's best for us to move somewhere separate if we're going to have conversations.
Well, what direction? I'm not 100% sure if Vice is just gonna, you know, let her carry this girl onto the ship outside of a bag.
Are we still in the red belt or somewhere completely separate?
You are on the planet Oxnid, which
Okay.
is which is one, two, three, four planets away from the sun and one planet away from the red belt.
Then you can tell me whether or not have I had any political affiliations in this region before?
So possibly, but you would know that perhaps some of your political allies are not currently in like the reigning political
Yeah.
yeah, because this planet just happens to have a lot of back and forth of political, let's call them conversations. So at the moment they just had someone who was kind of a, what's it called? They were like sponsored by someone from the Old Tarian, essentially staged like a bit of a political coup. And so that person was deposed like literally like 2 weeks ago. And so that's one of the reasons why Oxnard right now is a little lawless, because
Hmm.
they're going through some changes.
So I assume I have no old hands or old friends or places I've stayed around here where I could know to take people.
Well, let's see. I'll say that you guys have been standing in this area for a while, but your activities have not been quiet. There were two gunshots. There were, people talking. Like, so people either know what was going on and they were just staying away, and that's kind of the vibe you got from the guy just being like, "I'm not in this. I'm gonna walk away." Is that people are just like, well, there's some things happening, on Roosevelt, so I'm gonna just stay away from that area right now. However, I will say that as you guys are in this area and no one seems to be coming to investigate, which is usually strange, you could probably say that there's like whatever factions have been deposed, it's not like they're gone. So if you did have an ally or someone who you think you can rely on, but they are no longer in the majority of the political power, they're somewhere around here. You just might not exactly know where to find them. Like, you'd have to figure that out.
All right. I think in lieu of having a safe house right away, Raiko would at least step away to see if he can try and contact someone or find a place to stash out or hide out.
Lucky for you, just at this moment, there is actually someone who walks up. Well, I guess they don't really walk up. They're more like down the street from you guys. And it's like one of those situations where they think you're the person that they need to talk to, but they also just like overheard that there was like a big old scuffle in this area that they weren't privy to, and they're a little nervous because it's like walking down a creepy dark street that you're not familiar with. But it looks like someone is slowly approaching, like cautiously, because they don't 100% trust the situation. But as they get closer, you see that it is actually a young woman. She's actually wearing a veil that kind of covers the bottom half of her face and her hair. And she's wearing like a long black dress. And she has a little envelope for you. And she specifically hands it to Avery.
Okay.
Do you take it? Do you open it? What do you do?
Yeah, I guess I take it and open it.
You would see that even though you've never met this woman before, the little letter that she gives you is possibly like a letter that you give your like henchmen. You're familiar with this type of way of giving you some sort of communication.
I think you got the wrong number. He said Avery.
Oh, is that not your hench?
I'm not the henchman. That's Raiko.
I believe Raiko is the one with the henchman.
Oh, you are. Okay. Well, then let's switch that. They're given to Raiko then. Perfect.
Oh.
So yeah, same thing though. You would see that it's some sort of communication that's pretty normal, and it's from Rodriguez. It essentially says that while he didn't know you were in Oxnard, he did have to find you to give you like this notice. So he does have some place you can go because he did encounter some issues, and he got a place here when he realized that you were going to be here, just in case you two were able to meet up, but he'd like to talk to you in person, and it's an address.
All right. And Rodriguez is the one I gave the hat to, correct?
Yes.
Well, gentlemen, looks like it pays to have friends in many places. Grab the bag. We might be able to use it to get money. Who knows?
Very nice. And then so you guys make your way down the back streets, finding your way to this location, which is essentially it's like a bunch of row houses with all black doors, with all like glassy black fronts to their doors. Even their like concrete and their like organic materials are all also black. And so you get to essentially a bunch of row houses, and one of the row houses has a number on it, which is the number for where you need to go. And you are able to enter it easily. As you guys enter, the lights are already on. There you can kind of also smell that maybe there's something cooking in one of the kitchens in the back. And as you walk into like the front area, there's like a little tiny living room. There's like a couch and like a stool. There is no television, but there is like a little table that seems to have cards on it that someone's been playing. And then the lights are on, but they're fairly dim, but that's just like regular. And so now you guys are in this little row house. And as you guys walk in and see this little place and are about to get comfortable. Instead of Rodriguez coming out from the back where the kitchen is, it is a young woman. She is fairly tall but thin. She is wearing a straw hat. She's actually wearing also overall and boots. She's thin but like athletic. And she comes out from the kitchen and just puts her hands on her hips and she goes, "Well, look what we have here." And instead of Rodriguez, you found a woman that looks very similar. You could assume that this is the daughter of the farmer from your last job. And so apparently there was a complication, and this is it. She is kind of standing in the doorway between the living room you're all standing in and the kitchen. And she has her hands on her hips and she goes, "Well, look what we have here. Y'all's the ones that killed my daddy?"
I'm afraid you have us at a disadvantage, ma'am. And when I say that, I'll double ping like Avery in the head, like a signal that we've pre-organized to let him know, hey, contain if this gets messy.
Hands on my knife.
She rolls her eyes, unimpressed, and folds her arms. "Rodriguez told me to stay here. I decided to make a little bit of dinner. Y'all are welcome to have some. I'm not here to fight, although I think we could all agree I would whoop you."
Possibly, although it'd be a shame to start fighting in front of a child. Yeah, CK, come have some food.
She looks at the little girl and then looks back up at you, and then back to the little girl, and then turns away to go back into the kitchen. There is no food out here, but she will bring it out onto the table. As you are all kind of getting settled here, Rodriguez will eventually come back and he'll kind of explain the situation that came up, which is he did indeed find the girl, but the situation kind of got out of hand. He went, he told her, this is from like your father, it was his last wish, and she was very convincing to be like, "Okay, cool. I'd like to meet these people so I can talk to them." And he was like, "Absolutely not." And somehow, some way, she kind of strong armed her way into having him lug her. They kind of went on their own little adventure as he was tracking you guys down. And you can kind of see he has become a bit endeared by this girl who he refers to as Lily.
So they're having like their own buddy cop movie.
Essentially, yeah. She is setting down plates of food. It's like a lamb curry, some nice like fresh rice on the side, and she has some drink. Like, girl can cook, and so she's setting that down for everybody. And she sits next to CK, just for company, but she doesn't touch her or like speak to her unless CK like looks over at her. She's just there to be like a presence. You guys aren't getting like bad vibes or anything negative from Lily. You're just surprised that she was here. But Rodriguez explains to you why she's here. She wanted to find you guys and talk to you about why there are some major issues with the type of work you guys are doing. And she truly just kind of strong armed Rodriguez because she was like, it's the least he can do since you guys killed, her father. So you guys are kind of sitting down and eating a lovely meal.
Yippee.
I thought I had to do like 4 more deals in order to get back to eating this good. Huh.
She smiles at you. "Well, thank you kindly. I was taught by the best. My mother was an excellent cook."
She sounded like a wonderful woman.
She kind of looks at you surprised. She was one of the best. Which is probably why I needed Rodriguez for me to meet you all. I know you're just doing your job. And Daddy knew what he was doing. He knew it was illegal, and he knew he might be caught. But after my grandma died and my mother, he was my last family. So you can imagine why I kind of wanted to get a couple of things off my chest.
It's interesting. Usually, people who want to meet a vice crew either are out for blood or out for money.
Well, I'm afraid I don't have much use for either of those things. And as she says that, she shows you her arm, and it shows you how much time she has left. And it's about it's like a couple of months, essentially.
Looks like your time's running out then. I'm sorry.
She sort of takes her arms back and shrugs. As it should be for all of us, right? I mean, we're human. We all gotta go someday.
As it should be.
Look, my daddy made a lot of stupid mistakes, but he was alright. He just, well, none of us really knew what was happening. And I'm assuming y'all don't know either. But looks like you've just learned something. And she kind of looks at CK. Y'all know why they need this little girl?
Not really.
She's magic.
All I know is that she's got that psyker stuff that Raiko seems to have.
I'm flattered by the comparison, but hers are a little different.
Oh, you mean psychic voice.
Yes.
She kind of looks at the little girl. Yes, she certainly has something. And then she looks back at you guys. This mission you're on. I'm assuming you know you're supposed to drop her off. And she was going to be taken somewhere else.
That was part of the mission.
Well, I know where she was going. We all do. And by that I mean everyone who's ever worked in the Red Belt. Because we're all getting sick from this fake wheat they keep feeding us.
Okay.
So, what's your plan now?
I don't think any of us have any sort of plan when we realized we didn't have the heart to, do any ill will to her.
Fly by the seat of my pants until someone clips my wings. Usual.
Well, if I might make a suggestion, they're eventually going to find out. Well, they're going to find out much quicker now that you done did whatever you did after you took her out of the bag, I'm assuming.
I was thinking of putting something into the bag, but starting to get the impression that that won't work as easily as I'd hoped.
Yeah, Sam realizes that he would get fired from V.I.C.E, and that he remembers that a lot of his stock for his side gig is also on the ship at V.I.C.E, and so he is now sweating nervously as he feels he's going to have an economic breakdown on his hands. Oh.
I could always just kill you. Then you wouldn't have to think about it.
Avery, why is every suggestion you always have to everybody's problems be so aggro?
It's what I'm good at.
Ugh.
Man has his specialties.
I'm not a man.
Sorry.
My specialty is maintaining two very profitable jobs, and I basically put both of them at risk of going apart because I fired in order to save this girl. Ugh.
Oh my goodness. Lilia rolls her eyes. Listen, if y'all are so what's the word? Money hungry, I can assure you there's money in it. Does that make you happy?
Eh.
But will it be fun?
Probably not. I don't really know what fun.
Avery wants to know if he'll be able to kill many, many people.
Oh. Well, yeah.
I'm in.
I'm going to accept your offer to get some money just in case because I have a feeling my main source of income is about to implode on out anyway. There you go. You in?
I don't like to commit to anything unless I know the details. If you have information to share, tell it now, before we make a mistake. Question DM. Falling back to politics again. Have I heard anything about, was this ever an issue that came up before when he was more of a political figure? Or was it like underneath it?
Yeah, I don't know if you would necessarily hear it in political circles, but I would say you might also. It's like a corporate thing. So like there's a corporate organization that's of course owned by the Old Tyrion, because the Old Tyrion owns everything technically. But it's like a corporate organization that has overmined and replaced the cores of the planets, remember? With like an artificial
Yeah.
light, but it's killing everything on these planets. And so that of course they still need food. So they're creating art, like, fake food, probably without like testing it and just putting it out into, the communities. And of course, it's probably like better quality if you have more money because you can afford the better quality stuff or the stuff that's been tested. And of course, anyone who is poor will get the worst stuff. So fortunately, still very common. So you know that's happening.
I used to be a corporate drone on Eunice. Could I have been working for these people?
It depends. Were you in food?
I was in office job, so I might have been not necessarily making their food, but I might have been doing their bookkeeping.
Let's say anyone who would like to kind of go a little bit more in depth and figure out a little bit more about this, based on like your own history. Let's do wisdom.
All right.
Well, I'm gonna roll, but this is my -1 trait.
Is this the 2d6 rolls or the 1d20?
Yeah, DC is gonna be 10.
8.
Well, the one person who has failed, but the two people who are just gonna go on board anyway succeed.
4.
Okay.
This is what I get for working in engineering sectors.
A 9. I had a negative modifier, and yet I rolled rolled the highest out of everybody.
I have terrible luck with D6s.
Okay. The DC was a little higher because it would be difficult for any of you to know the truth. You would either have to be like really close to it, like Lily and her family who worked there, and who personally got sick and actually have like testimony of what's happening, or you would have had to be high up enough to know all of like the backdoor secret. So, but I'll say that you guys do learn something from like this conversation and kind of going back into your memory and trying to figure out what this is all about. The Old Tarian is essentially it's also like a research, like an anthropological research organization. Like they go to different planets and they scavenge for really old tech, and things like that. So you guys know that a lot of their interest sometimes when they interact with worlds, is sometimes to test things. So it makes sense that perhaps the issue here is not necessarily that they're making food that's killing people, but that they know they're making food that's killing people.
Then I'll direct a question to Liliana or Lily.
Hmm.
So, what does this have to do with the girl?
She sort of looks at the girl and she doesn't say anything out loud, but her and CK are kind of staring at one another, and you can kind of tell that they might be having a bit of a conversation. And then after a couple of moments, she turns back to you. You know, the Altarian is a menace. They're liars. They're just trying to control us. And now she's kind of starting to talk a little bit more of like revolutionary rhetoric, which you would be familiar with. There are some people who are very anti-Oltarian, but they're very quiet about it because bad things happen when you are found out. But you kind of get the vibe that she's clearly one of those types of people. So essentially, she explains to you guys that the algorithm that everyone has, that the Old Tarian swears is from this ancient understanding of how life and age should work so that everyone can live as long as possible, but also so that the planets can live, et cetera, that's all a lie. And it has been, in a way, propagated over time, like through the generations, by using very powerful psychics that they essentially kind of create in a way through a lot of experiments and testing with the ancient tech they find when they do their archaeological and anthropological digs. So that's what she tells you. Whether you all want to believe that or whether you want to, roll something, or if you just want to accept it, that's going to be up to you. I will say, though, that if you are believing her, I will probably ask you to make a roll just to kind of see like how you're handling this very shocking news.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of believed her. I mean, I always felt like Vice isn't 100% fully honest. I mean,
Okay.
that's why I had my backup gig. Apart from having more money.
Okay. Sam is believing her.
I don't think Avery really cares. I tuned out after, you'll get to kill people.
Okay. Raiko?
Raiko is in between trying to play it cool and also internally being very concerned about his job. And a mix of both being concerned about the moral applications and job security.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It sounds like you guys are at least, amenable to what she's saying. So I'll have Avery and Sam roll a mental saving throw. And it won't like do much, but just to kind of see how shocking this is for you.
Like what? 2d6 or d20?
D20.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
20.
Okay, let me clarify. Did you mean Avery or did you mean Raiko?
Yeah, sorry, Raiko.
I'll roll. Yeah, I would say it's kind of like Raiko doesn't want to believe her, but mostly because of what it means for him if he is.
Mm-hmm.
Avery's known the old Tarian was weird.
9.
Ooh.
That's not better than a saving throw.
Okay. Sam has been kind of on that wavelength for a while, but like keeping it to himself. So he's just kind of like, that makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, my line of work, I've already been doing a lot of shady things for money for a long time now.
Meanwhile, I will say, I'll actually start with Avery. Avery, you may have tapped out as soon as you learned that you'd be able to actually do something interesting, but you do still hear most of the keywords that would still be of interest to you, which is that the old Tarian has been digging up old tech. And you know that old tech is like expensive to buy, even if it's like not even workable. Like it's because the parts are impossible to get. This lab is gonna be a score if you can find it. If you go to wherever they're gonna talk to you guys about, and you can find what they've been finding, you guys are gonna be set for life. So, Avery, you kind of catch that.
So what I've been hearing is, wah, wah, wah. Yes, you get to kill
Yeah.
people. Wah, 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 money.
Yes, essentially, you're just like, oop, your ears just kind of pop up every time there's something of interest. And then Raiko, you are really not on either of those, extremes of like understanding exactly what this is going to mean and also kind of completely like getting the old Tarians, what they're planning to do and what they have been doing. I think for you, you're still a bit confused on why they're using psychics, and you have understood already that this girl is different. Like she has powers, and the way that she kind of does things, you can kind of tell it's different. It's not like the other trained psychics you've met in your life, and it's not like how honed your psychic abilities. This is definitely something different. And so when she says that they're using powerful psychics to somehow do something with this algorithm, which is supposed to be something that isn't controllable, like it's created from like ancient knowledge, that kind of breaks your brain a little bit. You're now just like, you have to know how they're doing this if this is truly true.
You have evidence to support your claims?
She sort of just shrugs. She's like, listen, I can't give you all the answers. You're going to have to find them yourself. And I've done a lot, including fixing y'all a delicious meal and giving you all this information. I mean, you could just go to where you were supposed to go and see for yourself.
Well, we might just have to do that then.
Well, all right then. she goes just like is staring at you. I think at this point you're not sure if you guys are like BFFs or like frenemies.
Would this count as a scene change? Because I want to try using suppress cognition again. But it only works like from scene to scene. It changes between scenes.
Let me think. How long has it been since you guys... Well, I guess you did a whole battle scene and then arrived. So yeah, yeah, this is a different scene.
Simply put, I want to try and she can't try and hide any reason she would have to lie. So that any questions she's asking, she's telling the truth.
Okay. Do you have to do anything for that, or does it just happen?
She makes a mental save.
Okay. Her mental's 15.
15. What can I find?
Oh! A natural 20.
Woof. Well, yeah, she'll save.
I will say that you do not believe that she is psychic. However, I'll say as you kind of like try this and you feel that rebuff, you also see CK look at you because she knows what you're doing. And she sort of looks over at Lily, and Lily looks at her, and again, they seem to have some sort of internal conversation.
And I try and snoop with the casual.
And then Lily looks back at you, and she just sort of like, she kind of smirks at you, and she's like, were you needing something in there?
You're spitting a lot of sedition in front of vice officers. You just got to make sure that you're confident enough to back it up.
Well, I certainly am confident because I'm amazing. You're welcome for being in my presence. However, I have no reason to lie. I did not trek across, the red belt to this godforsaken black planet with Rodriguez, who's been lovely, to be honest. It's actually been a charm. But I did not do all of that and leave my home after losing my daddy just to come here and spout nonsense. If y'all want to truly see what's going on in the world, you want to open your eyes, then I suggest you take the pill. As a Matrix reference, I'm thinking. Yeah, she has watched The Matrix several times.
Your references are archaic, but I understand.
Oh, it's my favorite movie. So she's like, you're going to have to just try. You're going to have to take a leap of faith. You're going to have to take a risk. There could be glory in it for you. Or, money, I guess, if that's what you're looking for. But for me, it could be closure. It could be change. Like some real things that me and my family and the people that are still working need. So I don't want your money or whatever clout you're going to get from doing whatever you're going to do. I just want you to go and see for yourself and hopefully make a decision that will help everybody.
You're putting a lot of faith in people who usually kill for a living.
Well, she kind of glances over at CK and then back at you. According to CK, y'all are nothing but a bunch of teddy bears. So, and CK kind of smiles.
I don't kill children.
I very much wonder what kind of teddy bear she knows.
Well, as long as stays if I did get my bills in order, I have a Nokia 8110 to sell you.
You have a Nokia. Perfect.
Well, it's the phone used in the Ancient Hollow film. Film you seem to like.
A Game Boy Advanced.
Yeah, I could imagine those would essentially be like super ancient high value artifacts in this universe.
Oh, that's
How
true.
did you make your fortune? I sold a copy of Sonic Colors for the Wii.
Whoa. That is high art.
She actually writes down really just a name of a scientist and the name of like a lab. We'll call the scientist Dr. Magnus. And he's at this archaeological dig that is on the planet Oros, which is, I believe, where Avery is from, or somebody.
Eunice?
Is it? No, I think it's Eurus, not Eunice.
The document says Eunice, but I think you've always said Eurus.
Oh, I think the document's wrong, but let me check the map. Okay, the map is Eurus. Yeah. So I think that's just a typo in the doc.
Either way, I'm from there.
Yes. It's one planet from the red belt, 2 planets from the sun. So she gives you that information. She tells you, now you guys already have in your like not your iPads, but like your compilots, the location of your drop off. You're supposed to come here, do a deal, or drop off these materials, and then whatever was supposed to happen here, there was either going to be an exchange or a drop off or more instruction. Then you were supposed to go to Europe, and that was going to be your final destination, and then you get paid when you get back to the ship. Unfortunately, whoever you were supposed to meet here, or however you were supposed to get like the materials, because you got 3 things. You got some armor, you got the girl, and you got a power cell. And so most likely they were supposed to do something with those things, but that never happened because you guys opened the bag. So now you kind of have to wing going to this next location without doing that middle part, like whatever you were supposed to do before you went to Urus, with all of the materials you've gotten. So she says that you guys can, sleep here for the night. There's just like the 1 bedroom, so you would all just sleep in the living room. But she says you guys can rest there for the night and then go to the next day, and that hopefully, no one will be able to find you guys. You can also ask Rodriguez to like cover your tracks if you'd like him to do that. But that will be the next step. You guys will need to go to Eurus. So before you guys move on to Eurus, I will ask what you want to do with the other 2 things. So you got armor and a power cell. This armor is called the Icarus Harness. It has an armor class of 16, and it costs $8,000. So you can most likely sell it for 8,000 credits. So you can most likely sell it for 8,000 credits or better, depending on who you find. However, you need a tech level of 4, which I don't believe any of you have, to actually use it. So you can decide what you want to do with that. If you want to like keep it with you, and maybe something will happen where you'll be able to use it, or you can sell it, or you can do something else with it essentially. So that's the armor. And then you also have I believe it's a type B power cell. Power cells are used to power suits as well as like other things.
Do they have a shower here?
Yeah, we'll say they have a shower. What do you guys want to do on your downtime?
Take a shower.
Okay. Anything else?
I mean, I'm pretty sure Sam would probably desperately try to, if he could still contact some connection with the cargo, because he is still has a little bit of an anxiety of having his main form of monetization essentially being cut off.
Okay. So, do you want to do that like via your phone or compad?
Yeah, probably check the phone and compad.
Okay. And then Raiko, are you doing anything?
I'm curious. Do we have any like secure channels that would be difficult to track, like communications channels?
Mm, I will say you might have some personal ones, like your Vice issued ones are fairly easy to track and
Yeah.
like communicate with you.
So probably communicating anyone would be unwise. In that case, I think Raiko would just sit with CK and see what he can learn. Just spend some
Hmm,
time.
okay. Yeah, okay. So I don't see a price for power cells, so I'm gonna give them one of let's give them 600. So yeah, so let me know what you guys want to do with these in terms of do you want to keep them or sell them or do something else with them?
I do not care what happens to them.
Raiko wants to make sure we keep the power cell, but because we can't use the harness, he doesn't care.
Okay. So what's the final verdict?
Keep the power cell, give the harness to Money Man.
Oh, to Sam.
Yeah, Money Man.
Yeah, I'm gonna sell a harness. 8,000 credits is a good deal.
Make sure no one can track it, alright?
And I have plenty of experience in packaging contraband, don't you worry.
That's what I like to hear.
All right, you guys keep the power cell and give the Icarus harness to Sam. All right. So, over the night, you all three have a couple of things that you want to do. So, let's start at the top with Avery, since you're the first on the list in the channel. What are you wanting to do overnight? And if it's nothing, that's also fine, but just let me know what you were wanting to do.
Take a shower, get some food, sleep peacefully, threaten Sam. You know the usual.
For no reason. Love that. Okay. Yeah, you do that. I will say that your knife that you stuck into the one guy, I don't think you need to like recharge it or anything, but are you gonna do anything with that? Clean it or
Oh, I take very good care of my knife.
okay.
It's the only knife I have.
I'll say while you're like getting ready for bed, you've eaten, you've showered, you're good, and you're like kind of cleaning your knife, you do feel like CK just kind of like staring at you while you're doing this. Again, in that way where she's almost absorbing information around her.
Well, I look very polished while doing it.
Excellent.
Avery, I'm not quite sure if cleaning a bloody knife is gonna set the best example for this child.
Appearances are important.
But with a weapon?
Yes, it is part of my get-up. Avery takes time to make sure they look their best.
I just try not to keep your weapons as part of your general kit. You should only use them when things get real dirty, which, if your life is even slightly under control, shouldn't be too often.
But I like to make things dirty and then clean. It is part of my ritual.
Look, kid, Avery is a little crazy. Just
A
he's
little.
don't try to don't try to get yourself in love and violence as much as Avery. It won't end well. Just stick to laying low and making a decent profit, like me.
I am not the role model.
Someone's got to be.
Trust me, it's not a.
It isn't you either.
Well, who is?
It's none of us. Maybe Lily.
Avery, you are clean. Your knife is clean. You all three have had your nightly banter, and you probably I don't know what. Where are you on the ground sleeping?
My skin is already metal. I will sleep on the floor.
Fanciest guest bet towards the wealthiest team member. Me.
You pick a nice place on the floor and sleep soundly. Sam, you have kind of finished your nightly banter with Avery. What are you doing for the night?
trying to get into the nicest guest bed I can find and would probably struggle to sleep as all I can think of is just being cut off from accessing my cargo and such. I could actively feel the amount of potential deals just ringing in my head of missing out. So
Okay. The pull-out couch is probably as nice as you're gonna get. It's, it's big enough for you, like maybe like your toes, hang off, but it's kind of fairly comfortable. There's sheets and a blanket, and some sort of a spring, couple of springs in there. So that's, safe houses. They're not great. But you're getting ready for bed, and you can't necessarily check on your cargo, but the anxiety that you're feeling right now is kind of almost like permeating, like it's kind of like permeating outside of your own body. And as you're trying to get ready for bed and kind of like tossing and turning and worrying about this, you also see CK kind of just watching you as she has been watching everyone else, again, practically absorbing information about your emotional state as if it was data.
no need to worry about me. Just trying to sleep. Trying to sleep. Getting myself together. And I can rebuild what I lost.
Very convincing. You do not sleep quite as soundly, but you are able to finally fall asleep eventually. Finally, Raiko, everyone has gotten ready for bed. Rodriguez and Lily are going to stay in the bedroom together. And CK has already been kind of like organized. She has, there's like a smaller couch that's next to the table. So she's been given some blankets and some pillows and things like that. And she has been given like a little night dress from Lily, and cleaned up, with Lily and stuff like that. So she's been sitting up in this little couch bed watching everyone very silently, with just her hands clasped, ready to go to bed, but also looking wide awake at the same time. Like she's laying in bed as if she's about to go to bed, but she's been sitting up and just watching everyone intently the whole time. So, what would you like to do for the night?
For the night, I'll go sit at the foot of the bed just for a little bit, as long as I'm not intruding.
Yeah, yeah, you're able to do that. And she just looks at you and she just goes, "Hello?"
Hello, CK. I've seen how you're watching everyone. I do that too. What have you been learning?
She sort of looks over at Sam and Avery and then looks back at you. You're all very funny.
How so?
You argue, but seem to really like each other.
Like is a strong word. But when you work with people for a while, you build a rapport.
Like a family?
Kind of, in a way. Raiko, I think, would think at that moment, but not say anything, and not thinking to her, oh, I wonder if she has a family, but wouldn't say that.
But you would think it?
Yeah,
Okay, you definitely feel her enter your mind, and you can try to stop her if you want.
definitely.
Okay. Go ahead, and if you're not using an ability or anything, or unless you're wanting to rebuff using telepathy.
I don't have anything outside of just my own will to rebuff telepathy.
Okay. Then go ahead and let's do a mental saving throw.
Alright. I could blank slate my mind, but I think that might be a bit overkill.
I think so. Yeah.
4.
Mm. Yeah. You you kind of feel that her abilities are a bit different than yours. It's not even that she had to like figure out if you had the mental fortitude for her to be able to get into your brain. You suspect that even if you had like truly rebuffed her really well, she'd probably still be able to get into your brain somehow. She is quite powerful, but like accidentally almost. Like you feel like she doesn't quite even understand how easy that was for her. And she simply just like listens to your thoughts as you think them in your brain. And she continues to have a conversation with you in your brain as if nothing's wrong with listening to people's thoughts. Because I think at this point you're realizing that she doesn't see the difference between private thoughts and public thoughts because she listens to everyone's thoughts all the time.
Hmm.
And she goes, I have a mother.
So do I. I think, again, Raiko, he's trying to stop himself from thinking thoughts like, how long has it been since you've seen your mother? But it's just instinctually for him to think questions like that.
Yeah. And she doesn't understand that at all. She just
Mhm.
kind of continues to hear you as you ask that question. And she goes, oh, I see her all the time. I just saw her a few minutes ago.
Really? How so?
And you can feel something like happening in your mind, almost like a pressure. And I think this is you understanding that she's kind of asking permission to do something.
I'll allow it.
You see a vision almost, or like a picture, but it's of a scene of her closing her eyes. And every time she closes her eyes, a woman appears like next to her as if out of thin air. And this woman looks very much like her, only she's taller. She's like in her mid 50s. She has her hair up in like a loose bun. She has like gray blondish hair. And she has a pair of glasses, and she's wearing a long white lab coat.
Hmm.
And as she shows you this image, she goes, Mother, meet Raiko. Raiko, meet Mother.
Hmm.
And as she says this and you see this image, the image turns to look at you.
Raiko will almost panic and then force a smile, but of course he's panicking mentally.
Yes.
Hello there.
She 100% reads that though, and she seems concerned. Like she understands your panic, but she doesn't understand where the panic is coming from. So she sort of just kind of looks at you and the vision disappears.
Hmm.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. Can your mother see you at all times?
Of course.
Ah, wonderful. Well, that must be nice to have such a deep connection,
Like family.
like family. What's it like, moving from place to place?
Mm, boring and dark.
Hmm. Do they not let you out of the bag?
As you ask that question, she frowns. And this is probably the first time you feel her emotions, probably because you guys are getting like a little bit closer and you guys are constantly talking with each other's minds. But you feel kind of a wave of sadness as you ask that question. And she goes, sometimes when I go to the lab,
With mother?
she nods.
I understand. Can I tell you a secret?
You see her kind of like cock her head like like a little puppy would do. Um she hears the word secret, but you realize that I don't think she quite understands what that means.
You're a very curious child, aren't you? All I was going to say is I don't get out very much either. I'm not on work. So I think it's interesting. That's all.
She sort of pushes her pillow down and lays down and just says, "Good night."
Good night. Sleep well. You want me to turn the lights off as I go out?
Okay.
I'll just leave.
You leave, you turn the lights off, and what do you do next? You just go to bed? I do need to know if you do anything with Rodriguez.
With Rodriguez. Ah, yes. I need to have a conversation with Rodriguez.
Okay. Him and Lily are already in the bedroom, but you can go and meet them or meet him.
Well, I don't want to interrupt. I would rather find him when I can find him privately.
Unfortunately, this is the last time you're going to be able to talk to them.
I have other pressing matters.
They're not asleep. They're just in the bedroom.
Raiko would rather not interrupt and pull him out just to chew him out.
Oh, okay. I mean, you guys had a conversation earlier. You wanted to chew him out in private.
True. I feel like Raiko has something. I have another idea, something I want to do. I'm just curious how quickly he could get to a different planet and then come back.
And this night,
Just in this night, I literally going to a different spaceport and then coming back, or a beam port.
I'm going to say not in that way. I will say that you can find a different like communication device on the planet, but I'm going to say at this point it's like the time where everyone's going to bed. So if
Yeah.
you were to try to find a pad to go to another planet by the time you got back, like I don't know if that would be doable.
Really, I just want to find a secure way or a way I can fire off a communication without it getting traced back to our location.
You could ask Rodriguez. He might have something because he'll have his own communication device. You can use his.
Sure, I'll ask him about that.
Okay. Yeah, he has something. He has his own personal device, and you can use it.
I would like to use it to call Captain John.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, you call her, and she picks up. Rigo.
Hello there, Captain.
Interesting hearing your voice. You guys have been quiet since you left. Thought this would be a quick job for you guys.
We thought so too. We had complications. Some of the cargo turned out to be live, which changed things up a bit.
Some of the cargo turned out to be live.
Yes. Some forewarning would have been nice.
You can make a roll for Ja right now. Okay. You hear her just be silent for a moment, but you can hear like the echoing of her thick heels that she is moving from wherever she is. She still has like, she's still listening to you, but she's like moving from wherever her area was and moving like somewhere. Live cargo. Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting. I was no, that's so crazy. make a make a wisdom skill check to see if you can gauge shouldn't be that hard.
I've caught got 3 into 1, 4.
That's actually okay because it's going to be
Good.
more contested from her charisma, and she only got a 5. You don't necessarily think she's being deceptive, but you definitely realize that something's happening like at the moment you're talking with her, because you can like kind of hear her like stumbling over her. Captain Ja is a strong-willed woman. She rarely, minces her words, and she is rarely shocked about something. So you can kind of see that she's off balance right now.
Did I catch you at a bad time?
No, 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 no. As she's still walking. Listen. Okay, so all right. Oh goodness. What was I? Okay, let me just get myself together here. So there was live cargo. Okay,
Yes.
and that's fine, I suppose. So what happened there? I'm assuming you figured that out, and the
I mean,
drop
the
off.
bag was moving. We went to drop it off, but unfortunately, we were accosted along the way.
Ah, well, such is the plight of a V.I.C.E crew. Am I right? So what you're saying, you have some complications, but the drop off happened, so you're good.
Well, most of the drop off happened. Unfortunately, the bag was shot and we had to ditch it halfway through, but we got the rest of it through.
What?
Something wrong?
No, no, no.
Everything all right, Captain?
You hear a door close, and she begins to kind of like whisper, and she's like, Raiko, what is going on?
We were accosted halfway through our drop off. We got into a firefight. The bag was shot. We were on the move, so we ditched it. Is that a problem?
Do not come back to the ship.
Really?
You are dead. You're all dead.
Oh, am I? Well, that's a new one. I feel pretty alive.
Well, that's gonna be short-lived. Trust me.
Any words of warning? I appreciate the warning about the ship, but why are we dead?
Well, well, the last crew's dead. So I'm assuming
Oh,
that's gonna happen to you. This is really
how
unfortunate
marvelous.
for me in particular. Ah,
I take it you're dead as well.
I have been able to weasel my way out of it once. I'm sure I'll figure it out.
Oh, I wouldn't be too sure about that, Captain. I mean, if I'm dead, I'm certainly not going to die alone now, am I?
Don't threaten me, Raiko.
What you mean?
Don't come back to the ship. Don't call me. And she hangs up.
Very well. I'll hang up, ditch the comms device, and go back to bed.
You three are slumbering, some of you better than others, but you are all sleeping, understanding that when you wake up tomorrow and are on your way to this Dr. Magnus, this woman who might be CK's mother, this lab that might have some sort of dark secret of the old Tarian and the way that they've been lying about this algorithm, that this mission has clearly gone off the rails, but hopefully this will all be resolved in one way or the other because it seems someone is going to be after you. You just don't know who. And I think with that, we will end for the night. Thank you all for listening to the Aging Journey podcast. We hope you are enjoying the campaign. Don't forget, you can listen to our podcast on our podcast website, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Lists will be in the description below. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. You can support the podcast on Patreon or join our Discord. Enjoy the journey. 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 Enjoy the journey.